Good evening. It is Tuesday, August 9th, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post, the live streaming on Facebook Live, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg. I'm joined by three of my crew. J3, what's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
What's up, Big Ridge? Ed and Sense. Feeling good. Glad to be here.
J3.
Yes, sir.
J3.
Yes, sir.
We got Sense in the building. What's going on, partner? How you feeling this evening?
Feeling good, feeling great. What it do, fellas? Ready to talk some sports?
What's up, Sense?
Absolutely. And last but definitely not least, my brother Big Ed. What's going on, partner? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good to go. We getting ready to break down this NFL. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Yeah, so we're going to keep it real clean this week. We're going to give you some quick hits, and we might delve a little deep into a couple of stories in the quick hits, not too deep. And then the rest of the show is all NFL. We're going to break down two divisions for you this evening. We're going to hit you with the AFC North and give you the NFC North. And then, of course, we got to get you with our final post. So, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. So, please sit back, relax, enjoy posts on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. So, fellas, Thursday, it came down, the Brittany Griner situation a day early. I think the Russian court system, who had been stating that it was going to come down Friday, tried to, catch up with this Deshaun Watson stuff and kind of bury the lead. But unfortunately, Brittany Griner was convicted in a Russian trial, which we all knew was going to happen. The question was, how bad of a sentence were they going to give her? And they gave her 9 years out of a possible maximum 10-year sentence. And she's already been detained for 6 months. So at this point, it's now in the hands of the U.S. and Russian governments to see if they can work out a prisoner exchange. But I think this is going to be a political ball that it's going to go back and forth until who knows what's happening. I just hope that Griner can be strong enough mentally and emotionally to go through this time period, because up until the sentencing, you could see physically her facial change when she heard 9 years, and the realization hit her that she might be there for a long while. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just praying for her mind, man, because it's like that can really, damage, someone's, mental state, just being one, like you said, detained for 6 months. And then now on top of that, 9 years, and you don't know like what's going to come, how quick the U.S. is going to intervene, and, how that's going to go about. I just, just pray continued strength for her mind. It's just messed up how we can, something so simple as to, move in and, do something about it. It's just taken so long. And just, it's disturbing also to see how petty, one country can be, in this, talking about Russia. It's just
Political pawn, man. She's being used as a political pawn. I've already heard that they're trying to bring her back. She's not going to do the 9 years. Again, it's all about politics and how they're going to move her around. Trust me, she ain't going to be there much longer.
I think I might have an unpopular opinion on this whole thing, this situation. But I will acknowledge this. It is political. Just get that. But I was always trained when as a child, that when you're a visitor to someone's home, you act accordingly. Mm-hmm. And that means that if you go into a foreign country, you're not in the U.S. I think one of the problems that we have in this country is that when we travel abroad, we try to bring our customs with us instead of being humble and gracious and accepting, other people's views and opinions and ways that they live. If weed is illegal in the country, I don't care if it's a speck on your fingernail or not, you don't bring it in. It's not your home. So if you get caught, whether it's political or not, then you're going to have to suffer the consequences. And being as high profile as you are, you should be on eggshells even more, or basically covering your behind more, because you know that at any moment you can be used in this political game. So she got 9 years, could have got 10. I agree. She more than likely she won't do the 9. More than likely, Russia has their eyes on someone who is a little more valuable than Brittany Griner to them. So we will have that. But again, you just got to understand where you at. You got to know the situation, whether you going out to dinner, downtown DC, whether you taking a trip up to Baltimore, whatever you are, you always have to remember your surroundings. But more importantly, you got to act accordingly when you're a guest in someone else's home. So, do I feel bad for it? I wish he wasn't detained. I don't want anyone to be detained, but if you break the law, and I don't want to sound like I'm on a soapbox, but if you just, it is what it is. So I know that's not a popular opinion with everybody, but that's the way I feel.
But you know what, Ed, I agree with you, because again, it's not like this is her first time going there. She's been there many a years, so she knows the rules, she knows the laws, and for her to get caught with that, I don't know if it was intentional or if it was planned. I don't know the whole story because I wasn't there. But I will say this: she knows better.
Yeah,
go ahead, sis.
No, I was just gonna say I've heard so many different variations of the story, whether it was actual weed, whether it was CBD oil, but I do get your point about the acting accordingly when you're in another country type of deal. But I think this was still kind of nitpicking on Russia's part, and a political game as well, because who's to say that when the last few times she traveled to Russia, she didn't have it on her, but now this time of all time she wanted to all of a sudden have eyes and catch it on her. It just doesn't add up.
Yeah, call me naive. I still believe that this was planned. Just call me naive. But even if she did have it on it, I was watching a ESPN show, and they had one of their correspondents on it who did some research. There was another American female who went to Russia and was caught with 9 ounces of weed. Convicted, they gave her a year and they let her go in a month. No prison exchange. 9 ounces of weed in her bag. She only got a year and they let her go in a month. With reportedly, Brittany had less than an ounce of CBD oil and got 9 years. And part of her conviction was distribution. So that's all.
Do with that what you will.
But I think a lot of times, and I'll end it. I'll leave it alone. But I think a lot of times, like I alluded to when I was, when I said what I was saying, is that a lot of times we get caught up in the freedoms and the rights that we have in America, and it's hard for us to fathom, this something like this occurring for something so seemingly so small. And then we also have to understand that there's not necessarily equal, and we as black men, we should understand this concept. It's not always equal. Everything's not equal the way the law applies to people. So I'll just leave it at that.
Amen.
All right, let's move on to the big news last week, and continues to be big news this week in the NFL. There's actually 2 big stories in the NFL this week. One is a good story, so we'll just go ahead and deal with it. The Walton Group was approved today unanimously. Took them less than 45 minutes to approve them. So one of the heirs of the Walton fortune and his daughter are buying the Denver Broncos, and it's been approved. So it's a done deal as of today. So I just finished the legal stuff. So the Denver Broncos have a new ownership group. But the other story, the Deshaun Watson story, we talked about it significantly last week, and it took another spin. The NFL exercised their ability to appeal the decision. Not that whether he was guilty or not, let's be clear. They're only appealing the length of the suspension. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that either party can appeal. If he was deemed not guilty, there is no appeal possible. If they're guilty, it's just how long the suspension is. So the NFL decided to appeal 24 hours before their deadline. The NFL Players Association submitted their response to that to the NFL, and basically they don't believe that Deshaun should have gotten any suspension, much less this appeal to try to expand it. And the NFLPA and Deshaun's camp are threatening that if the NFL tries to get any more time, that they're going to try to take this to federal appeals court. So, what do y'all think about the NFL's decision to appeal it? And the NFL is adamant they want at least a year suspension. They actually want an indefinite suspension. Roger Goodell today in an interview, his first interview talking about it, says he doesn't see this as one situation. He sees this as 4 different violations. So that's why he should have a much harsher penalty. And if you take the average penalty of what one single person got, 3, and then add that. So what do y'all think what's going on with the NFLPA and, the NFL, and how you see this playing out?
I actually think that the NFL community, the 31 teams not named the Cleveland Browns, as well as the league, but particularly the NFL owners who actually are the league, right. I believe that they're so pissed off at Deshaun and but more importantly, the Cleveland Browns organization, that they actually want this. They want the Browns to get hammered. They are upset that the contract that Deshaun got is so outside of the lines of what the ownership and what has been done before, as far as how they structured the contract, the amount of guaranteed money they have, that they really, really, really want this man to get hammered. We have a situation because it's like everything comes down to money. First, I do believe that the suspension was rather weak. I believe that the explanation for that weak suspension is rather weak. But again, I think that now that it's back in the NFL hands, and Roger Goodell had the appeal actually was to him, he had the right to give it to a third party, so to speak, to actually decide the length of the ultimate length of the suspension. I've heard that the NFLPA doesn't want any part of it, as far as they're like, basically their hands are tied. They really don't want to sue or go any further with this, because they recognize that it's probably a losing battle. It's just a mess. It's absolutely a mess. But Deshaun is going to get hammered, and he's going to serve that suspension one way or the other. Roger Goodell, and more importantly, the other 31 owners are going to get what they want, and they do not want him on the field this year at all.
So I know you're talking about the Cleveland Browns a lot, Ed, but what about Houston? Because I know for a fact they should have said something or did something a long time ago.
They have some culpability in that match.
They tried to cover it up, even though he was off the field.
Well, they actually look, when they paid out that money, the necessary monies needed to get their name off the books. They were done with it. They were like, we did what we had to do. And if you read the statement by the Houston, when the Houston Texans came out with the settlement, and then the statements that followed by the Texans owner, she explicitly tried to, her PR team basically said that, look, we didn't know all this. We all know this is probably not true. We didn't know what he was doing. We didn't know the extent of it. We don't condone, all that they put in there, and they basically absolved themselves from any responsibility, and they paid right away. They didn't, right away as far as when they had to pay, not necessarily right away when they first heard of the allegations, but they paid as soon as it, it got to the witching hour. They didn't go back.
As soon as their name got involved
Yeah.
in the actual lawsuits, they settled up.
They played cleanup. Yeah, I think to your point, Ed, about the other teams being mad that he got that guaranteed money, which is I think why, in addition to lengthening the time that he's away from the field, they're trying to get into that $230 million too, like to get him to pay this, pay some fine. And at this point, man, I really just want it to all be over. Like, if you got to do like 1 year, just do your 1 year. Serve your time, get treatment. Most importantly, I know that's also a stipulation.
Yeah, that's going to be part of their stipulation. I mean, last week we said it when the arbitrator said, under no circumstances, as long as this man is still in NFL, should he be allowed to have a massage session outside of the contracts of a team masseuse or a company contract. But that tells you everything you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the NFL wants the suspension extended. They're going to fine him because of the way Cleveland set up his contract, because basically the way it's set up now, he got $45 million signing bonus. And let's be clear, Deshaun Watson had 4 years remaining on his previous contract.
Mm-hmm.
They tore that
paid
up.
him a lot too. Yeah.
They tore that up and gave this man a brand new 5-year deal, fully guaranteed.
And why is that? Because they want to see him on the field. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He ain't gonna. Trust me. He ain't gonna do no 7 or 8 game suspension. He's gonna be on that field wearing a Cleveland Brown uniform.
That's what they're gonna try to push for.
That's what Cleveland wants. The rest of the NFL are pissed because they done messed. He, as Ed said, he done messed up everybody else's money. Why are the Ravens having the situation they having now?
Well,
part of it's because of Deshaun Watson.
I don't know about all that.
The owner came out and said we don't believe in those type contracts. The Baltimore Ravens owner Bisciotti, he just said that. He said we don't believe in those type of contracts.
And he
no one else has gotten one.
And he said Watson is not the person that you give the first fully guaranteed multiple year contract. So yeah. So.
If I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm listening to that one. Oh, you ain't trying to give that much money for contracts, eh?
Yeah, but he ain't going nowhere either. He ain't going nowhere.
He might ask for a trade.
Yeah, okay.
Lamar's gonna get his.
Yeah.
Right.
One way or the other, he's gonna get it.
Exactly.
It just may not be in Baltimore, but let's move on from there. Let's talk about the other. It's talking about trade requests. That's a great segue. What's up with y'all boy KD? I know he a local boy and all that, but KD trying to pull a power move with a billionaire makes absolutely no sense at all. After
loyalty to his boy Kyrie. That's
well, as you alluded to a few weeks ago, Big Reg, there's a new sheriff in town. That owner for the Brooklyn Nets, he's not to be played with at all. Because look, he don't care who you are. I own the team. But you know what? Let's back this up for a minute. KD and Kyrie handpicked Nash. They handpicked him.
In their words, they didn't need no coach. Well, Kyrie's words, they didn't need a coach.
And there was no place in Steve Nash's resume that suggested he could be an NBA head coach. Now, Sean Rooks, the GM, on the other hand, or is it Sean Rooks?
No,
Sean Marks.
Sean Marks. I'm sorry, Sean Marks. Sean Marks, on the other hand, he was actually doing a pretty good job. Yeah. And he made an error in letting the last coach go and destroying all the good work that he had done in order to accommodate these superstar players, so to speak, KD and Kyrie. But they gambled on the wrong too.
Yeah. And like I said, it's I think behind the scenes it's KD working for Kyrie because KD's mad that the Nets didn't give Kyrie that long-term extension that he wanted. So it's like, all right, let's kind of be in cahoots behind the scenes. I'm gonna just ask for a trade and try to get things going. But the whole muscle tactic, I'm not with. And I'm glad that Joe Tsai is standing firm on that. saying like you're not about to like run this organization. Like I'm standing pat. Like I don't think they should have ever hired Nash. I don't think someone with no experience should not be head coach. But
they wanted that because, as they said, we don't need a head coach. So we just need somebody that understands being a superstar player, and he's gonna let us do us.
And how that work out?
Hey, Sid, can I ask you this question? So, do you honestly? Because I've heard this, I've heard chatter about what you just mentioned before. Do you honestly believe KD will literally put his reputation and his career at stake in order to get Kyrie some money? I
think he did that. He did that by following Kyrie to Brooklyn. Kyrie chose, let's go to Brooklyn, and he followed along with him when he really wanted to actually join the Knicks. But Kyrie didn't want to join the Knicks. Kyrie wanted to join the Nets. Hey, let's start our own thing. KD's not a leader. He does not lead. We've seen this time and time again. He follows. Kyrie's the one that said, I want to go to Brooklyn. So, okay, we'll go to Brooklyn with you. So I think KD will be the one to fall on his sword out of the sake of friendship, like with him and Kyrie. I truly believe that.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think KD's one of those guys that does not like conflict, and now he sees this whole situation as conflict, so he's trying to get out, but he realizes he's stuck, and he didn't realize who his owner was. As I explained last week, Joe Tsai is the richest man in China. And in order to be that, the government has to allow you to do that. So this man has been negotiating with the Chinese government for decades. And when he created Alibaba, and that became so big, you think he gonna be worried about this NBA player?
No, he's like,
you said it nice. You said it.
He said, I will rebuild. Like, just to let I'm not deviating. And he put it out in the tweet. Like, I stand by my front office and coach. And we'll do what's in the best situation for the Nets. So that's telling you all you need to know right there.
So we got a game of chicken now. We got to see who's going to blink first. But I think it's going to come late September when they got a report. KD, you going to show or not? Because unless I get what I want, you ain't going nowhere.
You on 4-year contract, brother.
Sit down and relax.
Play it itself.
And Kyrie, you going to play too. Just because. So we will see.
They messed up that whole squad, man. Brooklyn was going in the right direction.
And let's not even get on Ben Simmons.
Oh, that's not even talk about him.
But he ain't saying nothing. He ain't said nothing. He just happy to be out of Philly.
That's because he's still in street clothes.
But what's he going to do in Brooklyn is the question. So that's what I
meant. Well, one thing I know with an athlete, if you done had back issues, it's real easy to get out of playing. And it's hard for them to say your back ain't hurting.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, but he's so young, man. He better get back on the court.
Why? He got a fully guaranteed 4 years.
He got money. Exactly.
he already made over $100 million. So, all right, let's move on to a positive and sad note. The great Serena Williams announced today via social media and via article to be published this week in Vogue that she is winding down her career. And as she puts it, that she is moving on and evolving to her next phase in life, and that she wants to extend her family. So she wants another child and work into her business endeavors and just, move on to her next stage in life. So all I can say is she's not just the greatest female tennis player that I've ever seen and probably the greatest female tennis player ever. She's one of the best tennis players to ever pick up a racket. Her and her sister. And what they did to the sport of tennis, especially for the female tennis players, will pay off for future tennis players for decades.
Yeah, I agree. And I said this in our pre-meeting, like shout out to Richard Williams and
Yes.
and Oracene. Like they planted the seed, they like prophesized over it, and it's coming to fruition. And like for this woman to be one like title away from the most of all time, even on top of Djokovic and Federer and all these, that says it alone. Like
phenomenal.
Yeah, and let's be clear, she's got the most in the open air. Margaret Court played most of her career in the non-open area, where basically they were limited fields. Most Americans didn't travel to Australia. Of her 24 titles, I think 14 of them are Australians. So the majority of her titles are from a tournament that most players didn't play in.
Worldwide. Worldwide.
Yeah, she's got the most, male or female, in the open area. So let's give her flowers there.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Salute, man. Like I best to go out on top. Like, I know like it's been, she was off for a year due to injury, and I'm just excited to see what she's gonna do at this US Open. It might be a go out on top. If she can do it, that'd be like the cherry on top for her career.
Yeah, I'm just glad she's going out on her terms. So let's do that. All right, let's get. Go ahead.
Jason Whitlock said she should have retired 10 years ago because she don't like to work out.
Where's he now?
Now, why you had to bring up Jason Whitlock, man?
Where's he now? Where's he now?
I just said that. I'm joking, man.
Where's he now?
Man, I ain't messing with that bad.
Exactly.
He's become more of a cartoon.
Serena is the greatest women's tennis player ever. Maybe even the greatest tennis player.
He's residing in irrelevancy right now. So yeah, let's move on.
Let's go ahead and move on to the NFL division breakdowns. All right, let's start with this AFC North division. We got to start with the Kings of the North, and it's strange to say this:
the Steelers,
the Cincinnati Bengals, won the division.
You thought.
You got to give them the credit. They won the division.
Yes, sir.
And not only did they win the division, they took that playoff run and took it to the Super Bowl. Coming back off of 10-7, they tried to fix the line for the first time in maybe forever. The Cincinnati Bengals are actually spending money like a team that's really trying to win.
They are.
I don't think Jesse Bates would say that.
He's a safety. How many people paying safeties?
Okay.
But I hear you. But the major flaw again is that offensive line. They brought in 3 new players: tackle Lyle Collins. Trash. They brought in Tampa Bay's Pro Bowl guard Alex Kappa. Good player. Bought in center Ted Karras. So they're trying to bolster that line. And see what Joe Burrow went through last year.
And
he led the league in sacks and hits and took him to the Super Bowl. If they can be a middle level offensive line with those weapons,
your Steelers are in trouble.
Well, first of all, since you said you liked the Steelers last year at the end,
I did. Just as soon as it left my mouth. I'm like, oh damn!
You said you abandoned the Commanders / Washington football team / Redskins. You was a Steelers.
My bad, Ed. My bad.
Hold on, but look, the AFC North has one. Look, the Bengals will not run roughshod through the AFC North this year.
Nobody will.
But the AFC North has one common denominator, which you just alluded to, Big Reg, that all the teams, every team in that division, 4 teams face, every single one of them have offensive line question marks.
Yeah.
Beginning with the Bengals, they imported 3 new starters, potential starters, but Collins has yet to play. He's an injury. He's prone to injuries. He had that problem in Dallas, along with some abuse issues. So substance abuse. So they have issues with the offensive line. The Ravens paid their left tackle, let their other left tackle walk or traded their other left tackle to Kansas City. They have questions. They lost their starting center to Carolina, which I don't know why. They have a left tackle right now who's physically unable to perform. Staley. They moved a guard over to left tackle. He has not played that position since he was in high school. They also have problems with Jones they brought in. He's played, I believe, 3 games in the last 2 years. They have questions at left guard. Pittsburgh fielded the worst offensive line in the Super Bowl era last year. They tried to upgrade a new center and a new right guard, but we should see and we'll see how that turns out. Cleveland's starting tackles: Jedrick Willis, a young star from Alabama, and Conklin, a guy they stole from Tennessee, right tackle. They battled injuries all last year. So all the offensive lines in the AFC North is their Achilles heel. So we shall see. But I really, if everything is even, I really, truly, I think the Ravens on paper I think they should be the team to beat. I think that there's going to be some letdown with Cincinnati. I think Pittsburgh has no quarterback. And I think and the Browns in Pittsburgh, neither one of them
have a quarterback. Yeah.
So I just think that it'll probably come down to Cincinnati. If Cincinnati, they have to get that offensive line straight. Burrow cannot take as many hits as he took last year. I don't care what Super Bowl they was in. They lost. Because they're going to ruin that man's career. We've seen it before. But I really believe if the Ravens, they had the most injuries, the most starters lost. Think about it. In the preseason alone, the Ravens lost not only their first string, but their second string and their third string running back last year before the games even counted. So I really like the Ravens. I know there's some influx. I know the contract situation with Lamar is not great. They're going to have to get that settled. And I know they say they lost, they claim they had the worst offensive wide receiver group, but their wide receivers are just secondary to their tight ends anyway, when they may have the best one in Mark Andrews in the NFL. I really like the Ravens. I really do. I think my heart wants, obviously who I want. My heart tells you I want to win, but
Cleveland? You want Cleveland to win?
Next question.
Going to respond to that.
Next question.
All right, so
my only issue with the Ravens, they've got so many people coming back from injury.
Right.
So you counting on a team that has they lost both of their corners, all of their running backs, 3 of their offensive linemen, 2 of their defensive linemen, a linebacker, a safety, and they got to count on all these people to stay safe, healthy again this year.
Not to mention an unhappy quarterback who wants money. So
they drafted a safety some people thought was the best player in the entire draft out of Notre Dame. They signed Williams in free agency, another starting safety. They already have Chuck Clark in the back end. The two corners are coming back. Peters and Humphrey might be, when healthy, the best tandem in the NFL. Their linebackers leave a lot to be desired. Maybe they can go to Chicago and make a phone call. He's upset.
We're gonna get to that.
And then their defensive line, the Ravens they're always going to have at least a solid defensive line, not necessarily pass rushers, but they're going to play hard. They have a new defensive coordinator this year, so we'll see. I'm telling you, the Ravens are talented. I
agree,
and they play hard.
They are.
They would lead the division until Lamar got hurt. So I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, yeah. So while I will agree that the line for Cincinnati is questionable, and even though they made some additions, I think that Super Bowl run only enhanced their swag, especially Joe Burrows. And I feel like he's going to take that going into the season. Like, okay, like we showed that we are forced to be reckoned with in this division and this league. Let's show them some more. So I see like Cincinnati possibly taking it. I will give some props to Baltimore as well. I only think that contract issue with Lamar right now looming is kind of may have some,
Lamar ready to ball. Lamar has put it in his mind. He's going to take this probably to the last preseason game. If they don't have a contract, he's going to say, I'm shutting it off and I'm just playing. Lamar put on 20 pounds of muscle in the offseason. Lamar's ripped up. Lamar ready to go, prove everybody wrong, and that he deserves a $250 million fully guaranteed contract for 5 years. So
I agree there too. That's why I say Cincinnati and Baltimore. Pittsburgh, like, we don't know what Pickett's going to do. And I did say I was, a Steelers fan.
They're hoping he doesn't hit. They hoping he doesn't hit the field.
He's
exactly.
Not
and then Trubisky, we don't have to say much right there, even though I was a proponent of Trubisky in the beginning. I don't know if y'all remember that, but yeah, like I root for Mitch to have some success because I'm tired of him getting trashed by the analysts. But yeah, I don't see it happening.
Yeah. And just to follow back up on your safety question earlier, Ed, the reason why they didn't play their safety, you know what they did with their first 2 picks of this recent draft?
Yeah, but they got
safeties.
the kid out of Michigan.
2 safeties.
Yeah, but I like
first and second round safeties.
I like known young talent.
I understand. They're not gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him this year on a franchise tag.
But he hasn't
signs it. Because he's got to sign it.
And he doesn't get fined because he's a franchise player.
Right. Yeah. Until he signs that contract, he's good. So is he going to sit out for 8 weeks and then come in the middle of the year so he can get his accrued year? He might, so. But at that time, the young boys have been playing so much, he ain't going to play. So that's going to affect his bottom line for next year, trying to get a deal with another team. So he in a tough spot. It's just safety, running back, them are those 2 positions where a lot of NFL teams don't value anymore. They'd rather have a young player and stick him in there and pay them almost nothing. So,
question of Professor put something in the chat about Cleveland possibly bringing in Jimmy G. Is that like legit?
That's been rumored out there. San Francisco 49ers are waiting till the very last moment where they got to get down to final cuts to try to see if a quarterback gets injured or a team like Cleveland finds out that they're not going to have a quarterback. And are you really going to go with Jacoby Brissett for the whole year?
I'd rather have him than Jimmy G.
In Carolina, after they look at both of their quarterbacks there, are you really going to deal with that? Seattle, hey, Seattle, y'all really want to play with those quarterbacks y'all got up there? So they just hope and praying so they can get something for Jimmy G before they have to cut him. And everybody knows that, so everybody's like, we just going to wait for you to cut him.
But they don't have to because they have a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract. So they can afford him. It's not like they have to. They don't have to trade him.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the benefits of having a good rookie quarterback. Well, we don't know if he's going to be good yet, but it's one of the benefits of having a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. And BJ, I just want to say that used to be the case where quarterbacks had to stay healthy. We've seen that be rebuffed in Dallas. Where man had his ankle broken and part of his leg shattered and still got the big contract afterwards. So Lamar gonna get paid. It's whether he's gonna get paid in Baltimore or someone else. So, all right, let's move on to the NFC North division, which I think is gonna be an interesting bag. Because you got Green Bay, who's been the class of the division for the past 20 years, because they've had maybe 30, because they went from Hall of Fame quarterback to Hall of Fame quarterback.
Gunslinger.
Every now and then you'd had a Minnesota pop up. Every now and then a Detroit that had a good team for a little bit, but it's been Green Bay's division.
Yeah,
but they lost a lot.
I mean,
everybody's talking about Devontae Adams, huge loss, but they also lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling to the Chiefs and one of the St. Brown brothers to the Bears. So they lost 3 of their top 5 wide receivers.
And they didn't have but one.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a problem. And their all-pro left tackle who got injured last year and didn't play most of last season had to have another surgery in the offseason, and he's not ready to play.
Nor is their starting left guard. He had ACL surgery last year. He got hurt in week 11.
Sounds like a spot is open for Captain Kirk.
Here's what I'm saying. The Packers won't be horrible because of Aaron Rodgers. Even though he's on those mind alters, he had this mind altering drugs in Peru. He's still MVP. and they have a solid running game. The defense is actually pretty good.
Defense is going to be solid.
They
Plus
have
those two Georgia guys that they picked up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They have a pretty good.
That
defense.
might win them. Yeah, they might take the place of that off.
But I
Still got to score though.
But I can see Minnesota winning this division. I like Minnesota.
I was just about to say, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Two teams in this division have new quarterbacks. I mean, new head coaches. Minnesota finally, mercifully, got rid of Zimmerman, and the Bears booted Nagy. I hope we never see him again. I hope he enjoys retirement. But I really like Minnesota. Minnesota has a if they can solidify that offensive line just a teeny bit, just a little bit. I like Minnesota's wide receiver group. Jefferson is a star. He might be the 1, 2, or 3 best young receiver. Him and Chase, teammates, might be the best receivers in the NFL in 2 years. If they might be already, we don't know.
If Kirk can get him the
It's
ball,
debatable.
But
Kirk
is average enough to win games. He's good
solid.
enough to win games.
We're not going to see anything groundbreaking from him, but he has a superstar running back. I like Minnesota's chances again if they can solidify that offensive line just a bit. The Bears.
The Bears are a dumpster fire. First of all, how can you fire your GM and head coach and hire people with the same first names?
But how can you hire a defensive coordinator, Eberflus from the Colts,
for a young
and you have a young franchise quarterback, and if that wasn't bad enough, you have no receivers. I challenge you guys to guess their number 1 receiver.
I can't.
Robinson.
No,
I don't think
they let him walk.
Jacksonville.
He with the Rams.
They let him walk, and they let Grant, the little dude, go to Cleveland. Although I'm sorry, he got but their second best offensive weapon after Robinson is in Cleveland now. They had their offense. They lost their best offensive lineman to Pittsburgh. They have nobody in front of Fields on the offensive line nor receivers. They have I believe they have the kid out of the tight end, the kid out of Notre Dame. I'm forgetting his name. Kidjet or something. We need Professor right now, but. Yeah, it's going to be a long season.
I'll let you know in a minute.
Now the Lions, on the other hand, not this year.
If Jared Goff can be a mid-level quarterback, the Lions actually, I think, could be a 500 team this year.
Perfect segue for me because I was just about to say that. I like Detroit actually, and they finally got some receivers for Goff to throw to in the draft. And I like the head coach Campbell. I think he's that coach that the team needs to instill a fire under them. That would be my dark horse, but I would give it to Minnesota to win because again, Kirk is he's not groundbreaking like you said, but he's good enough to win games. And with the core around him, it's theirs for the taking. We don't know what Green Bay is going to do now with the loss of Adams and other core receivers. Yeah, the defense is solid and Aaron's Aaron, but we don't know what's going to happen. So for now, I would give the crown to Minnesota, but I will keep an eye out for Detroit. I like them.
I think Goff is a very effective quarterback when he has time. I mean, he just needs time to be able to throw the ball. So the offensive line needs to do their job.
They have a decent offensive line, though. Detroit's offensive line, they got the kid Sewell, who had a rough start last year, settled into the right tackle position. They have.
The head coach is an offensive line coach. They're gonna have a solid offensive line.
Dan Campbell, yeah.
If Swift can stay healthy, Hawkinson, they have a superstar in the making tight end. Jameson, they drafted Jameson out of Alabama, Williams out of Alabama. I think he might. Yeah. I think this might be a redshirt year. If they were smart, it might be a redshirt year for him this year.
But they got a St. Brown that was started showing out at the end of last year. One of the 3 St. Brown brothers. He started balling. So they got some pieces. Again, if he can be Kirk Cousins,
he can be that.
Detroit can win 8-9 games this year and make a substantial jump and be a problem in the future years if they keep adding people. Because they literally were in 10
of them games.
of the 17 games that they played.
Yeah.
They should have beat Pittsburgh.
It went down to the wire. And let's not forget, Goff took that Rams team to the Super Bowl. So, he's not a bad quarterback.
I think you overestimated. I think we found out that the coach and the running game took Goff to that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
When they tried to put it on his shoulders. Again, I think
All
he's
I'm saying
for Kirk
is,
Cousins. I think he's a
Playbook.
starting quarterback, but I don't think he's the reason you win. He just can't be
He
the
can
reason
manage a
you
game.
lose.
Yeah, he can manage a game,
He's better than Matty Ice.
as we've seen.
You think so?
Yes.
Wow. I think when we gonna talk about them next week.
Okay.
I think Matty Ice gonna have. Or did we already? No, we already did them.
The
We
coach?
did the NFC South, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did them first.
Yeah.
I think Matty Ice gonna have a big year this year. I think
If
y'all
he
gonna be
don't, I
surprised.
don't want to hear your mouth
Right,
about him
'cause
no more.
The same as we said about the same thing we said about Carson Wentz when he was with the Colts, because he got a
Right.
line around him. There was
Right.
no excuse why he shouldn't have win any games. Now Matty Ice got that same line around him. He should be able to win some games.
I do got a question for you guys, because I know I ran over it a little quick, but what do you guys think of the Bears situation as far as Justin Fields is concerned? Do you think now he was drafted last year under a different regime, a different GM, a different head coach, and because of the history of Chicago as far as the quarterback position, they passed on Patrick Mahomes, they passed on Deshaun Watson. Well, they passed on Deshaun Watson, but they traded up to get Mitch Trubisky. And when they traded up to get Mitchell Trubisky, number one, drafted him number 2 overall. And I think they traded one spot to get there, and they surrendered a couple draft picks to do that. And the reason was because the owner of the Bears said that basically, and I'm paraphrasing, that she can relate better to him.
Right.
I mean, I just see that I have a theory that they want this kid to fail, because not everything that they've done suggests that. Do you guys feel that way, or do you
I feel
see?
he's being set up to fail too. I think he's being set up to fail. Unfortunately, that's not the right system for him. I see him thriving better on another team, but I mean, especially when now you don't have the pieces, the right pieces to put around him to have him succeed. Yeah, this is just a detrimental situation.
I think it's going to challenge him to be a better quarterback, because he's going to have to utilize the pieces that he has to make an impact on the field.
Yeah, but the problem is most of those pieces for most NFL teams are second and third string players. And that offensive line, he literally was running for his life in a lot of games.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He's going to run again.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think Justin Fields' fortitude will allow him to make it through this situation where he won't be ruined like a lot of young players. But I think hopefully he'll be able to, they get to his 4th year and say, we're not giving him the 5th year option, and that he allows to become a free agent, and he gets to another team and then has to actually start his career. Because what the Bears are doing are terrible. And I hate to say that, because they hired one of the few black young GMs recently.
Right.
But yeah, it just doesn't sound good. And then when you're having your 1-star player left on the team, Roquan Smith, all-pro linebacker, and if what he's saying is half true about how they've been negotiating with him, yeah, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem.
Plus,
So yeah, it's Chicago gonna be in a bad situation for a long time, and it may end up having to be till she turns over control of that team and lets them go in the direction of the future. So we had a Vikings, a Packers. Did I get 2 Vikings? to win this division?
I did. I put
I
the
said
Vikings.
Vikings. I said
Yeah, okay.
Vikings.
Two Vikings and the Packers. Okay. Yeah. Until Aaron Rodgers leaves, I think he's still going to control that division. But I think the Vikings are coming. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins. And Detroit is the one who's positioning themselves. If they
That's
let
the dark
Dan
horse.
Campbell stay and continue to implement his
Build it.
system and build
Build
that
it.
culture, Detroit could be a problem in a few years.
Definitely.
So we will see.
Definitely.
All right, fellas. Well, that is the AFC and NFC North.
Were we clear on who was going to win the AFC North? I don't think we got it. I don't think you did a Big Reg. I didn't think you did a roll call on that.
Okay. let me go because I thought you were clear about Ravens. You thought the Ravens was going to win.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, he
That's
said
what he
Ravens.
That's what he said.
I thought Sense said he still was sticking with Cincy.
I said Cincinnati. Yeah.
Okay, man.
Baltimore, close second.
Since flipped his commitment from last year.
What say you, J3?
We have no quarterback. What you mean?
I'm going with the dog pound.
Wow.
Okay.
You just keep that hope alive that he gonna get on that field. I hear
And
you.
Jacoby we trust, huh? And Jacoby we trust. Brissett.
Dog
Okay.
pound.
And unlike Professor, I think Joe Burrow's that dude. I think that year LSU, when everything clicked, his confidence got to such a level that it's going to be very hard to get him off of that level. And with the weapons he's got in Cincinnati too, yeah, Joe Burrow, that dude. As long as that appendectomy heals quick enough, so he can get a little time before the beginning of the preseason.
They ain't coming out
Jackpot
there.
Joe, he gonna be doing this again.
But I'd love to see Lamar win it and shut everybody up.
He ain't coming out the AFC. He ain't coming out. Nope.
Jackpot Joe.
Nah, y'all better watch out for daggone Buffalo. That's who you better watch out.
Yeah, we're gonna get to them. We're gonna get to them. We're getting to them. Yeah, matter of fact, we're gonna do the AFC East next week and do the NFC East the following week. All right, fellas, it is time for us to get ready to get up out of here. Before we do that, we got to give folks our post takes. J3, why don't you start us off?
I just want to say, the pandemic is still here, y'all. Don't think just because you ain't wearing no mask and you starting to go out that it's not around. It's still taking folks out. So be safe.
Appreciate that. Sense, what you got for me?
I just want to say, Channing Crowder, you are the Bama of the week. Like, dude, like, why do you expend so much energy hating on another man? Like Russell Wilson, like you got something to say about how he like conducts himself, how he like, does this, how he does that. Leave that man be and let him live his life. Like maybe he doesn't want to hang with you either. So just keep that man name out your mouth.
Hey man, he trying to push podcasts just like we are, bro. Getting them clicks. Ed, what you got for me?
Hey man, to echo J3, I just want everybody to be, stay safe out there. Thank our listeners and our people that view us. Thank them for their support. Like Big Red said, any feedback we definitely welcome. Please share us with the family and friends and what have you. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for always being there. See you next week.
And I'd like to end by talking about a story that we've been talking about for the past couple of months. Good old LIV. 11 of their golfers filed a federal lawsuit against the PGA Tour this past week. And 3 of them tried to get an injunction so that they could play in this week's PGA final in-year FedEx Championship. Thank goodness a federal judge was like, really? Y'all serious? Y'all going to take tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars from these people, and now you want to come back and play in this tournament and take money out of these people's pockets? So shout out to the federal judge that told those 3 live golfers, get out of here. Beat it. Y'all can't play in the tournament, and we'll see you in court. The PGA Tour is buckling down. That's going to be a nasty, drawn-out fight because they're talking about, basically calling the PGA Tour a monopoly and trying to get the federal government to help them win this case. So we will see. All right, folks. As usual, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions in sports with you. We also would like to apologize for last week. We know we had some technical difficulties near about 3/4 way through the show. The show was going well, and then all of a sudden the audio went out. We have no idea what happened. We believe that was a glitch because of storms in different areas through our provider, but we do apologize for that. We're here each and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. for our live show. Again, you can check out our live show on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel. You can also check us out Twitter at Positions on SPO1. If you want to look us up and you prefer podcasts and catch us later in the week, just go to your favorite podcast platform, put in Positions on Sports Talk Show. We should pull up. And again, we've got a bunch of shows there for you to download and listen to. And like Ed said, please, we would love to hear your thoughts about the program, how we can make it better, what we're doing well. We greatly appreciate it. And of course, always like, of course, and subscribe. Subscription, there's no cost to that. We'll see you next Tuesday. Be safe out there. The pandemic's still out there. We try to remind you because we want y'all here next Tuesday. Peace.
See ya.